Hello and welcome to the 10 by 9 podcast. It's Paul here. I just wanted to say a very big thank you for all your support in 2025. Whether you've been a regular at the Black Box or any of our other venues, or you've just come along once, or if you're a listener to the podcast, I just want to say thank you. You really make everything worthwhile, and 2025 has been a pretty good year for 10 by 9. Let's hope that 2026 will be even better. And thank you to everyone who makes 10 by 9 happen. You know who you are. I say your names at the end of every podcast. So I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Here's a great story that was told at 10 by 9 in May of 2025. It was part of the Northern Ireland Mental Health Arts Festival. So enjoy. Happy New Year. Next up, it's his first time at a 10 by 9 mic, so I know you'll be really appreciative. I'm not going to say his name, because his name is just, I couldn't believe it when I came through, and I mean that in a really good way. And I think he's very proud of his name, and he's going to introduce himself. So please, a warm welcome for our next storyteller.
Hi, my name is Attila. Yes, Attila the Hun. And yes, I am from Hungary. But no, we are not fighting for everybody back home. Anyway, let's get to the point. My story is about how our mind can mess with us and make us terrified if we are not careful. I've been living in the UK for 20 years now, 15 in Belfast and 5 in London. I have just finished the university in Hungary in 2005 as a Bulgarian linguist and didn't know what to do with my life, when a friend of a friend told me about a labourer job available in Northern Ireland. Being adventurous and curious, I said yes immediately. As it turned out, a day later, they needed 4 more people, so I called four of my friends, and all of them said yes too. 2 weeks later, we were on the plane to Dublin. None of us thought that this wouldn't just be a short adventure. We knew only one thing about Northern Ireland. It had been a dangerous place to live for decades. But we heard those times were over. The building company, which already had 4 Hungarians working for them, sent someone to pick us up at the airport. He told us we are going to live in Coal Island just beside Dungannon. When we arrived and moved into a large house provided by the company, there were already 4 Hungarians living there. We expected a warm welcome like, "Hey guys, great to meet you, welcome." Instead, the first thing they said was, "I hope you didn't stop anywhere in town and came straight here from the airport." They were terrified we might have stopped in Coal Island, even just to pop into a shop or chat with someone. They had been living there for 6 months before we arrived and were convinced that Coal Island was still the center of the IRA activity. They were so scared, they hadn't gone anywhere, not even to the local shop. They only did their shopping in Dungannon, using the company van and taking back roads to avoid driving through the town center because they were convinced they get killed. After hearing their story, there was only one thing for us to do: go out immediately and see for ourselves. It was Saturday night, by the way. The first pub we went into was O'Neill's. After our first pint, we started chatting with the locals. To our surprise, they actually knew about Hungarian history and saw us as a kind of brother nation. One guy, Paul, the barman, started talking about Arthur Griffith's 1904 book, The Resurrection of Hungary, a parallel for Ireland, where Hungary's success in forming an equal partnership with an Austro-Hungarian empire was praised as a model for Irish independence. As he told the story, more people at the bar nodded and added their own insights about the similarities between Hungarian and Irish history. One of them said that just as Ireland struggled against English, later British domination for centuries, Hungary fought against the Ottoman Turkish Empire for 150 years, and later against Habsburg Austrian control. Someone else mentioned that both nations had major uprisings. Ireland had several like 1798 rebellion and 1916 Easter Rising. Hungary has its own big rivals too, notably the 1848 revolution against Austria and the 1956 uprising against Soviet control. Then Paul chimed in again with more unbelievable details. Despite foreign domination, both people clung tightly to their languages and folk traditions. Revival moments in the 19th century emphasized both of Irish and Hungarian languages. The conversations were very friendly and calming. We were curious if people were as welcoming in other pubs too, so we bought around for the guys and then moved on to another place called Central Bar. There, too, we quickly struck up conversations. Just like in O'Neill's, some people knew facts about Hungarian history. Connor, who we later discovered worked for the same company we had joined, and who actually became our workmate, mentioned how religion shaped national identity in both countries. Ireland remained predominantly Catholic under Protestant British rule, and Hungary, while more religiously mixed, maintained a strong Catholic tradition resisting Protestant Austrian rule. As it turned out, this wasn't entirely accurate. Since the Austro-Hungarian Empire was predominantly Catholic, however, the point was that even this small inaccuracy helped strengthen the bond between us that night. Another guy brought up the topic of partition and territorial loss. Ireland was partitioned in 1921, creating Northern Ireland and the Republic, while Hungary was drastically reduced by the 1920 Treaty of Trianon, losing 2/3 of its territory. It was the 3rd of September. Back in Hungary, that time of the year, we enjoy what's called Indian summer, with temperatures of soaring above 30 Celsius, even at night. That night in Coal Island was 11. Zoltan, one of my friends, was wearing a winter jacket and scarf, freezing. He asked Connor, when Indian summer happens in Northern Ireland? Connor laughed and replied, "You are late, lads. It was yesterday from 2:05 to 2:09. The laughter was infectious. Feeling it was our turn to bring something to the table, we pulled out 2 bottles of our beloved homemade házi pálinka, Hungarian fruit brandy, so strong it could fuel a jet engine. We decided to introduce our new Irish friends to this cultural experience with a little tasting session. The Irish lads, being no strangers to drinking, understatement of the year, scoffed. "Sure, it can't be stronger than a whiskey, can it?" First shots went down. One guy immediately turned beet red, like a tomato in the sauna. Another froze mid-sentence for about 10 seconds, as if his brain needed a full reboot. Someone else kept patting his chest, mumbling, "It's burning me soul." Meanwhile, we stood there proudly, like fathers watching their kids take their first steps, or rather, their first stumbles. After a few more shots, at their insistence, they decided it would be a brilliant idea to go out into town. But Northern Irish stubbornness is legendary. Instead of walking like normal drunk people, they insisted they could march in a straight line like the Queen's Guard. Spoiler, they could not. They marched straight into a lamppost, a hedge, and in one case, the back of a police van, thankfully empty. At one point, one of them tried to explain to some confused locals that they were on a diplomatic mission from Hungary, which somehow earned them a free round of Guinness because no one dared argue with such a drunken confidence. Since that night, those guys have called our palinka the Hungarian Holy Spirit. We spoke to lots of people that night. Everyone was warm, welcoming, and genuinely curious about Hungary. We ended up living in Coal Island for 2 years and felt completely at home. The people were kind, helpful, and friendly. Meanwhile, those four guys had spent 6 months living in fear, all because of a rumor they never bothered to question. In their minds, they were living in a war zone where death could strike any day. The reality couldn't have been more different.
Oh, Attila, thank you so much. And only in this part of the world will Attila the Hun mean something completely different to anywhere else in the world. Attila, you're very welcome. Cool Island is a wonderful place. Spent many a summer down there.